We all enjoyed Robert Downey Jr.'s performance and his mastery of delivering his lines in a story. But let's look at the certain moments he goes off script and it's totally unnoticed.
I think it's about the mechanics. Iridium. What do they need the iridium for?
It's a stabilizing agent. So I'm just saying, pick a weekend. I'll fly you to Portland. Keep love alive.
In Avengers, Robert Downey thought it would be better to act with the lines given when he was being introduced into the scene discussing Loki. To make his character established, he keeps up with his off-script acting with Thor.
Like it did at S.H.I.E.L.D. No hard feelings, Point Break. You got a mean swing. Also, it means the portal can open as wide and stay open as long as Loki wants.
In that same scene, Robert Downey pointed to one of the actors claiming he was playing game.
That man is playing Galaga. Thought we wouldn't notice, but we did.
And that the game had to be added in the shot with VFX. In an action scene involving Thor and Loki himself, Robert Downey adds his own lines to his dialogue to mimic Thor in a humorous manner.
Shakespeare in the Park?
Doth mother know you weareth her drapes?
This is beyond you, Metal Man.
Robert, having had snacks on set, decided to use them as props while the camera was rolling. Offering the caption of the blueberries was not part of the director's plan.
She wants the Gallagher!
In the scene where Tony Stark hosted a house party, Rhodey came around to crash it, leading to a face-off with Tony. Robert Downey totally went off script and even couldn't control his laughter. In the scene with Loki, Tony, known for his incessant habit of either eating or drink on set, decides to take a drink and offer Loki. This was not originally part of the scene.
What the hell?
Robert's reaction to the Hulk's roar was real, as the sound was simulated while shooting and he couldn't but react naturally. He goes further to improvise the "what just happened" line to start a dialogue in the scene.
What just happened? Please tell me nobody kissed me. We won.
It gets funnier as the classic Tony Stark pulls the right jokes at the wrong time. Knowing his character should be in pain, Robert improvised in the most humorous way he possibly could. Tony decided to mention trying shawarma.
You ever tried shawarma? There's a shawarma joint about 2 blocks from here. I don't know what it is, but I want to try it.
We're not finished yet.
And then shawarma after.
This led the director to include the scene where the Avengers ate shawarma at the ending scene. The Marvel Universe may be intertwined, but Robert had a more interesting way of playing these films differently. Judging by the background of both characters in Avengers Infinity War, Tony Stark and Doctor Strange exchange words and arguments involving their ego. This shows the vast similarities between the two rich superheroes.
Under no circumstances can we bring the time stone to Thanos. I don't think you quite understand what's at stake here.
It's you who doesn't understand that Thanos has been inside my head for 6 years, since he sent an army to New York and now he's back.
Peter Parker tries to cut into the conversation and Robert Downey shuts him up.
Life, I don't work for you.
And due to that fact, we're now in a flying donut, billions of miles from Earth with no backup.
I'm back up.
No, you're still away.
Shutting him up wasn't part of the plan. I guess it's just reflex for his character. In embodying the Iron Man character, Robert Downey decided to spell out the background of his character's description.
Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
I know guys with none of that worth 10 of you. I've seen the footage.
This helped a lot of Marvel fans relate better to the character. This scene was a back and forth dialogue between him and Steve Rogers, and all actors in that scene went with Robert's flow either with lines or by action. Another interesting fact about films is that the synergy between actors can also fall between two opposing characters. The synergy between Steve Rogers and Robert Downey continued to be spotless. Robert's creativity didn't stop at this time. Though he was growing older, it still felt like her was getting crazier.
Where is he now? Where?
We don't know. He just opened a portal and walked through.
What's wrong with him?
He's pissed.
In Avengers Endgame, Robert went on to have another dialogue with Steve Rogers after Thanos wiped half of humanity. Tony Stark also made fun of Steve Rogers with these humorous salute gestures.
He said, people. Did he give you any clues? Any coordinates? Anything? I saw this coming a few years back. I had a vision. I didn't want to believe it.
One major place to take note is the part where Robert hits the plate unexpectedly, and Rhodey almost ruins the scene, but holds back his laughter.
Back in the game.
Arn, you in there? Arn! Hey! Door's this way, pal.
Oh, yeah.
Looking for Dr. Zola.
In the scene where Tony Stark met his dad, Robert hit his leg on one of the props, which was totally unplanned. Another unplanned situation happened after a conversion in that scene where Tony forgot his prop suitcase. This was totally unplanned, but it worked the situation of the scene. Another subtle error happened when Tony forgot to give back the flowers to Howard.
Good to meet you, Potts.
Yeah. Howard. Everything's gonna be all right.
To cover up the scene, both Howard and Tony had to improvise new lines.
Guys, stop. We gotta talk this through.
It's good talk.
No, it wasn't.
Sentry mode.
In a scene involving Tony Stark and his daughter, the child actor surprises Robert. After kissing her goodnight, Tony reaffirms his love for his daughter, and she goes off script.
Love you tons.
I love you 3,000.
This shocked Robert. Keeping the camera rolling, Robert shows his surprise while staying in character. Tony also added his own lines to restrict his shock.
Go to bed, or I'll sell all your toys.
Just when we thought Robert couldn't do more for the Marvel Universe, he continued proving himself. In Avengers Age of Ultron, while Robert had to look for a secret door, he decided to add his own lines so as not to be totally quiet in that bit.
Oh, Mr. Parker.
What? What are you doing? Hey, I'm Peter.
Tony.
What?
In the scene where Tony Stark visits Spider-Man to help with Tom Holland's acting, Robert Downey instantly adds lies to his lines.
The grant. About the grant.
The September Foundation.
Right.
Yeah. Remember when you applied?
Yeah.
I approved. So now we're in business.
You didn't tell me anything. What's up with...
This spontaneous action helped Tom Holland's acting smooth in the naive scene. To show that they are just meeting for the first time, Robert Downey intentionally mispronounced Spider-Man. In that same scene, Tom forgot the blocking of the scene, and Robert Downey had to tell him to move without falling out of character.
Banner and I were doing research.
That would affect the team.
That would end the team. Isn't that the mission? Isn't that the why we fight? So we can end the fight, so we get to go home?
Every time someone tries to win a war before it starts, innocent people die. Every time.
After a heated conversation between Tony and Steve Rogers, Tony decided to improvise his line, leaving the scene. In the scene where Tony was lured to meet Fury by repairing a tractor, Tony improvises by talking to the tractor as a cue to help Fury come into the scene. In the same scene, Tony used the Eugene O'Neill reference to buttress his lines. It was no surprise at all when Tom Holland said in an interview about the Spider-Man role. He goes on to refer to Robert. He said that Robert is full of improvisation by default. According to Tom, Robert is easy to act with once you can tap into his style of improvisation, and this really helped with getting the Spider-Man role right. Robert justifies Tom's claim in their scenes together to show it evidently.
Previously on Peter Screws the Pooch, I tell you to stay away from this. Instead, you hacked a multi-million-dollar suit so you could sneak around behind my back doing the one thing I told you not to do.
Is everyone okay?
No thanks to you.
No thanks to me?
In Spider-Man Homecoming, Tom Holland interrupted Robert while delivering his line, and he had to improvise to stop the distraction. In a car scene, Tom hugged Tony while he was trying to reach for the car door. Robert immediately used that improvisation to cover up for the conception without breaking character. Let's not forget that the character of Iron Man was different in its own standalone film.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's going around.
Come on, use your words, buddy.
I have more than enough words to describe you as Stark.
Thor, the Legionnaire.
Trail went cold about 100 miles out, but it's headed north. And it has the scepter.
In Iron Man 3, Robert speaks to one of the child actors hoping that he'd land another role in a Christmas film. The kid was impressed with the acting. As opposed to other Marvel characters in the comics, Iron Man became one of the most exciting characters in the comic universe. As opposed to other characters, Robert brought up the idea of introducing himself as the superhero. To make things more artistic and interesting, Robert used the same phrase as the last phrase before the end of his character in the film. What about Robert's performance in the legendary Sherlock Holmes? His performances were superb, and so were his off-script moments. The real-life friendship of Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law made a smooth run between the duo in Sherlock Holmes. Both actors were seen to have improvised a lot while running their lines. In this scene, both actors pushed the bandwidth of their acting by adding lines that are off-script. In another scene where Holmes points his walking stick to Watson's face, both actors go totally off-script smoothly. Robert Downey continues to show his vast range in his acting prowess. As though this scene was scripted, he chose to deliver his lines in the most hilarious way.
Madam, I need you to remain calm, and trust me, I'm a professional. But beneath this pillow lies the key to my release.
To deliver his lines in another scene without other actors getting carried away with their dialogue, Robert cuts in. Robert got his flowers, which were long overdue after creating a masterpiece with the legendary director Christopher Nolan. He added his unique creativity to the film, hence earning him multiple awards.
Amateurs seek the sun, get eaten. Power stays in the shadows.
I think that Robert...
Not to ignore the film that got him the Oscar awards, Robert Downey Jr. delivered the most seamless monologue in Oppenheimer. His performance was in context of the story, but not written down. Robert never stopped shocking his audience. Outside of the Marvel Universe, he has also had incredible performances in his career. This might be strange to some, but Robert Downey has starred in a movie as a black man.
When I was doing Jack, that I actually felt retarded, like really retarded. I mean, I brushed my teeth retarded, I rode bus retarded.
Damn.
In 2008, Robert was cast in Tropic Thunder, and in his classic self, he still goes ahead to improvise with a totally new accent to embody the role. These lines were off script, but his improvisations were so hilarious that they were left in the final cut. This film showed how vast Robert's range is in acting. He had to drop his voice deeper and tried to speak in the most African-American way he could.
That working with Mercury. It's high science, man. It's art form.
Yeah.
You an artist.
That's what we do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hats off for going there. Especially knowing how the Academy is about that shit.
In this scene, Robert improvises totally unplanned, referring to other real actors to buttress his point, and it works perfectly. Acting as a dude who plays a dude is great, but sparring with a real dude in a scene is nuts.
Some of the Alpha's ass water, that'll bring him around. It's a cure-all. Man, what you coming out in movies for anyway? Do you need another revenue stream?
For your information, my revenue stream currently generates $2 million a year in charitable contributions.
In this scene, Robert goes toe-to-toe and matches his energy. This scene was tricky because both actors were serious in their references while acting, but both of them still remained in character. Robert kept to his improvisations as he recited the lyrics of a song as his lines. The flow and synergy helped the improvisation so well that it made the final cut. It's no surprise that an actor as good as Robert Downey Jr. deserves to be rated as a top actor in Hollywood. If you enjoyed this video, click the like button, share, and subscribe to the channel. Also, stick around to see the magic Jim Carrey performed in his films.